Hi, welcome back. In the previous session, we have discussed about one-dimensional array, right? So today we'll be discussing the two-dimensional array. Two-dimensional array has a lot of application itself, and two-dimensional array is also known as matrix, right? So understanding two-dimensional array is very important because matrix plays a very important role when you talk about doing some kind of more scientific programs and all. Because when you going to study data structure also, you will see there is one kind of matrix which is called as a Spurs matrix, which is very important during scientific calculation and all, right? So two-dimensional array, knowing the two-dimensional array is very important, right? So in this particular session, I will be just talking about what is two-dimensional array, how it is been represented, okay, in the form of the row and column, and also we'll talk about the addresses and all, and exactly in memory how does it look like, right? So having said this, so let's move on. Okay, so as I told you, two-dimensional array consists of both rows and columns. Okay, right? Rows, columns, and it essentially we it is a matrix itself. So if you see this particular diagram itself, right? So I'm storing 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, and 12 values are there, right? So 25, 32, 66, 87, 92, 10, like that, right? And if you see the representation is right, this is row 1, this is column 1, okay, row 1, column 2, row 1, column 3, row 1, column 4. Similarly, we have row 2, column 1, row 2, column 2, row 3, column 3, like that. That means if I say 25, it is in row 1, column 1. If I say this 24, it is in row 2, column 3, right? So if it is 88, we have row 3, column 2 itself. So it is a two dimension, right? One is the row, this is the row, and this is the column, right? And this is how we are representing or storing the elements, right? The values. Okay. So moving on. Okay, what we have said is a representation. Okay, now we'll see, try to show in C, because we know in array in C always start with 0. So in one dimension array we have seen it start with 0. So similarly for two dimension array also, the row will also start from 0, column will also start from 0. So whatever we have said in one, right, row 1, column 1, now it becomes row 0, column 0. So now 25 become row 0 and column 0. Here 24 becomes, row 1, column 2, right? Similarly for 88, we have row 1 and column 1. But previously we see this is row, sorry, this is row 2. Sorry. Okay, that's I made a mistake. Let me correct it quickly. Okay, this is row 2. Okay, done. So this is row 2, right? So row 2 and column 1 itself. So if I have to represent it, where exactly it is stored, it is stored in row 2 and in column 1, right? Okay, so let us now move on. Yes, so just I to whatever I have said. So if I take 32, you see here row 0, okay, column 1. So row 0, column 1, okay, 32. Or I said 0, 1, 32, right? Next 24, I said row 1 and it is column 2, row 1 and column 2, which is equal to 24 itself, right? So we have that is 1, 2. Again, a mistake that I have done. So it is absolutely, it is 2 here, and this will be also 2, right? Okay, so move on. So we have row 2, we have row 2 and column 0. So row 2, column 0, we have 76. So, or I can say 20. Okay, so how are you going to declare this two-dimension array in C? In one dimension, what we have done, we have set the data type, then we have set an array name and the size, right? And we have put in this angular, this particular bracket itself, right? In the bracket itself. Now, here we have two dimension, right? Not only one. So we have two angular bracket. One will represent the row, another will represent the column. So beginning will be the row, number of rows we are saying, and next with the number of columns. And it is same what type of data, because we know array is a homogeneous data. So one particular data, whether it is int or float, right? We have to give a name of the array, okay, then give the size, right? So I give a name of that array, something like that, two-dimensional array as a matrix A, and I said the number of rows is 5 and number of column is also 5, and the data type is data type is int. So int, okay, matrix say 5 5, right? So I think this is clear. So next we moved on. Okay, so how are you going to initialize? So there are different ways to which initialize it, because this is very important. Because if you write a simple mistake here, it will give you an error, right? So I can represent each. See, this is way of representing a single dimension, right? So I said this is one particular row. This is the second row. This is the third row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So each of the rows I put it in a bracket and comma. Okay, this is one way I can do it, right? Just write the elements in the row. So elements in the row depends upon number of columns also, right? Yes, because we have three columns. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or don't mention it, the rows and all. Simply we write the element, like the way we did in the way we have done in what you say, one dimensional array itself. But here you see I can represent like this in the end, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, but having said that, it for us only become difficult which is the row one, which is the row, which one is the row 0, row 2, row 1, row 2, like that, right? So what I can do is that simply number of first row I said this with three elements, 1, 2, 3. Next row 4, 5, 6. Next 7, 8, 9. So this become visibility, or we can say the readability of the program itself. And this is very important, because when you become a developer, yes, the way the representation of this matrix, okay, two-dimensional, plays a very important role, because by looking at the data only I will come to know, okay, this row has 1 and 3 values, this row has 4 and 5, this row has 7 and 8 and 9 and all, right? So this particular is very important, right? This way I can represent, or also this one, okay, is way which got the more readability clear. So that's the reason why I put it in the very darker side. So even though it is okay, right, but we should avoid doing so. That's one of the guidelines. So it is not wrong, okay, it is not wrong, I'm saying, okay. But the thing is that if you do like that, the readability comes into a big issue, right? See, we are talking about here 3 and 3. Now let us take about 10 and 10, so you have 100 elements, right? So you will not able to understand which element has in which particular row or which particular column itself. So having said that, please follow this. Okay, it will be very easier for you as a developer, or easier for one who is testing your program, and another person who will be, you may be moving out of the program. Some other person can come who will want to read your program, and it will be very easy for him to understand that. Okay, fine. So let's move on. So now how memory has been represented. Okay, so we know in single dimension, if it is an integer, and we said if it is starting from 2000, then it will be 2004 next element, then 2008, 12, like that it is go. Same way right here, if it start from 2000, okay, row 0 column 0, call row 1 column 1 will be 2004, row 0 column 2 will be 2008, row 0 column 3 will be 2012. Next, once you move to row 1, row 0, immediately whatever the last value, okay, 2012, no, it will be 2016, okay, then 2020, 2024, 28, 32, 36, right? So it will move on like that. Yes. So what exactly is happening is like this. So even though we have a two-dimensional array in the form of matrix itself, but when you're talking about the memory representation is like simply, right, 2000, 2004, 2008, 12, 16, 20, 24, like that. So we have the value 25, 32, and it is 0001, the index that we are talking about. So memory, when you about the memory itself, it is simply in a single, because array is a contiguous memory location, right? So it will be contiguous whether you're talking about two-dimensional matrix, whether you move into 3, 4, everything will be in a contiguous memory location, right? That is the reason why you please understand, if you are trying to create a two-dimensional array, and we give a very bigger size, where we have to think whether the availability of the memory is there or not, right? So yeah, because the reason is this, because it is a contiguous memory location itself, right? So if it start from 2000, it will move on like that only, right? Even if you right, this is what logical way of representing our concepts of two-dimensional matrix. I'm sorry. uh, so this is how we do, right? So that's become easier for us to understand 0001 and all this thing, but in memory it is like that, right? And simply in the straight line. Yes. So similarly, as I was stating, that with this index only, we can get the where exactly the element coming up, right? Only one index when you talk about array, but when you talk about two-dimensional array, we have the two index, right? It's true. So we'll be using both the index and to generate this particular, address where the element is stored. So it's quite easy, right? So that's how entire, two-dimensional array itself. Okay. So next video we will talk about, as I was telling, the declaration of initialization and declaration already has been shown. So in the next video, we will be talking about how we're going to insert the element and display the element, from a matrix itself. Okay, so or two-dimensional array itself. So having said it, I hope you have understood. Okay, and as I'm telling you, this is quite interesting. Two-dimensional array is very interesting. Uh, so please. Uh, go ahead with all my videos which will be talking about the metrics and all. And one more thing, if you are liking my videos, please share some comments, okay, and also share with your friends. And I hope all of you who are listening to my videos have already subscribed. If you're not, kindly subscribe. So okay, thank you so much, and do keep watching my video.